Conversations with Friends. Another installment of it, that is. Today, I actually have a guest, so you don't always have to be listening to me, which I find great. My guest is my dear friend, Jason. I don't know why I blanked there. I'm looking right at you. Yes. And he will share with us some story. I don't know which one.
It's not the story, but just this is the joy of Conversations with Friends, where your friends almost forget your names on their podcast.
Okay, maybe it was the nerves. I don't know. Okay.
This is a real start to Conversation with Friends.
Oh, definitely. We wouldn't be starting if it wasn't real.
That's true. It's not like we had a test run or anything.
No.
Never.
Not at all. Not at all.
Well, yes. My name's Jason. It's a pleasure to have you all listen to me, meet you all. I don't know.
So, how did we become friends? Sorry, I know this probably wasn't the story that you wanted to tell. I'm just kind of like, I have some recollection of it, but not entirely. So
I know like steps. I don't know the actual like, this is where friendship was formed, but I remember like seeing you. I mean, me and Fernando are both involved in a community called Catholics in Action, CIA. It's out of St. Anne's. It's a cool place to be.
Gilbert, Arizona, by the way.
Gilbert, Arizona. Come meet us. We'll be there. If you didn't, also, I don't know when you're listening to this. If you're listening to it when it comes out, my friend Fernando here is the Vice Presidente.
Oh my goodness. It's not even that important.
Okay, but with it's kind of important for now. But with that, I just remember coming to this group. I like recently moved to Arizona, so it was like first coming here. I start going to the group, and I just remember seeing Fernando, and he somehow everyone was like, "Oh, Fernando knows everything," you know. Always ask, "Oh, Fernando can explain it." Talk to Fernando,
which isn't true, by the way.
It's kind of true, but what I really remembered at the time was I was like, because I'm a very like casual person, like how I dress, how I act, just in general. And every time I would come, I'm like in a t-shirt and shorts, sometimes with like flip-flops. We live in Arizona, it's the desert. And every time, Fernando comes with a button-up shirt and like slacks.
Okay.
And I'm always just like, who is this guy?
Honestly, that's because of where I work. I came straight from work. I still come straight from work. In fact, I'm in the same clothes that you're talking about right now.
And I'm in a t-shirt and shorts and flip-flops. So our friendship has advanced regardless of our differences.
Yes. If I remember correctly, where we like became friends, or at least the one notable like point in my mind was when we were like walking and we got to that Chick-fil-A with like a bunch of other people
at the March for Life in Arizona.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So here's what happened. Here's the story. We're walking, and basically we're the cleanup crew for the Arizona March for Life. Back, was it 2019? 2019, 2020? It wasn't 2018.
Okay, 2019.
I graduated 2019 college. So I think it was it was the end of 2019 or start of 2020. I think it was start of 2020.
Maybe.
Yeah, because it was right before COVID and all that. So
no, but it wasn't the start. It had to be the end of 2019 because like I've known you for longer than 1 year.
But but you're thinking it's been a year and a half since the March for Life, because March for Life was in January.
That's right.
It's been a year and a half now.
Okay. Yes.
And somehow we're friends. But so we're doing this thing where basically our group, Catholics in Action, the volunteers who went, we're like picking up like rose petals and trash and all this. Just we're being the volunteers basically, making sure that the march can keep happening without the city complaining. But we're walking and talking. I think at this point we're walking back to our cars because we were just done.
No, we were all hungry.
Yeah, but we had to go to our cars and then we passed our cars. To go to Chick-fil-A.
That's right.
Was it Chick-fil-A?
Yes.
Chick-fil-A. But me and Fernando started talking, and I think on the way there, it was kind of just whatever talk.
Yeah.
I think it was like about work.
It was kind of. I don't even remember.
I don't know, but we talked a little bit. We weren't really, we talked before then, but this was like the first time we like talked a little bit more. more than just like, oh, hi, how you doing, how are things, but more of like actually talking about stuff in life. I feel like we talked about something. I feel like I opened up to you in some way, or maybe you opened up to me. I don't know.
It was one of those two.
Something. But so that's probably the important part, but it's also the boring part. So let's get to the exciting part. So
wait, is the Chihuahua part?
And we go to Chick-fil-A. And me and Fernando are sitting at different tables, right next to each other, but different tables.
To be clear, the restaurant was full, so we had to. It wasn't like necessarily that I didn't want to sit with him or anything.
No. It's Fernando hated me at the time. And I was sitting with I was at the strictly dudes table, and we were talking about like the church and philosophy, and I don't know. I think we were talking about. There was one dude who came, who I haven't seen him in a long time, but he would talk about Chesterton a lot, and we were talking about like the power of silence or something. Whatever. It was a good time. But then all of a sudden we hear a bunch of laughing at the other table, and we're like, what the heck? Can't they realize how good of a conversation we're having? Not really. We were more of just we were laughing and having fun too. But the other table is totally laughing, and it's what? It was like you.
It was
Fernando.
Lauren, I know.
Obviously my sister Lauren.
Oh man, Teresa was there.
Teresa, maybe like Ryan?
No, Ryan wasn't there. I was the only guy there. That's how I know.
Oh, you were okay, yeah. So let's say those three. There's probably another girl there too. Who knows? But at this point, they're talking. It was also Fernando's first time really talking to Lauren, I think too. And they were just having a conversation, and somehow. What was it? Were you saying where you were from? Is that how it came up?
Yeah, someone started by like asking where everyone was from, and then it came to me, and I said Chihuahua, and then afterward was actually Lauren.
Yeah, Lauren's just immediately in her very lovely self is just like, oh, me too, Fernando.
And Fernando believed her. Without thinking about it, I did, because like I don't know why. It was just a knee-jerk reaction. I'm like,
we're super white, by the way. Me and Lauren. At least, like, we have a little bit of dark skin, but we're definitely white people.
Okay, it was a knee-jerk reaction, and honestly, like, yeah, I believed her. So I asked what part, and then she's like, I think at that point is when she started bursting out laughing. She couldn't. She's like,
Fernando, not from Chihuahua.
Yes. So how that became our friendship, I'm not entirely sure. I
think that's just the first time we really talked, and then after that, we were more willing to talk to each other and start hanging out. And you know what? I know what it is.
What?
I was wrong. It wasn't. I mean, yes, that was the start, but what really started for us getting closer was, I think a few things for us kind of become like quote unquote friends. Of say like. Just going to different CIA stuff, and then before quarantine. But then I think once quarantine was going on, me, you, and Alvaro would talk a lot.
Yes.
And I think that's what sprung the friendship.
Okay.
Was because me and Alvaro were like best friends. And we're still, obviously, still one of my best friends, although he moved and betrayed us. But me and Alvaro would talk all the time. And then Fernando would join in, and I think because it was, you didn't come for the St. Joseph stuff, though.
No. See, I joined that group thinking, I had the best of intentions. Really, I did.
And but you eventually read it this year.
No, I actually failed.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I did too this year. I read it last year.
So, what we're talking about is we formed a group of young men to read the consecration to St. Joseph and to do it together.
And it was new. It was like a hot, big deal at the time, but not that many people knew. It wasn't as big as it was now. It was like
Alvaro, I think, was the one that wanted to do it.
Alvaro was like, we're doing it. And he got a group. We all started coming to his house. It's actually where we're talking right now because I like moved in with him and then he left. So I still live in the house.
But anyway, everyone else did pretty well in just like maintaining that consistency.
We met up. We would read whatever our sections was every day, but then we would meet up every Saturday morning at Alvaro's house. It'd be like some of us would go to 7 a.m. mass, and then we'd show up at Alvaro's house and we'd eat like bagels and stuff, and then we would just go over the group discussions of what was going on.
Except that I never made any of those, and then I fell behind on the reading,
But you came to some of the other, not came, but you joined in online once we started like quarantining more.
Yeah, but I think that was only towards the beginning, and then at like the middle and end, like I wasn't there at all.
Oh, well, Fernando, it got to the point where it was literally just me, Alvaro, and Neil, and sometimes Steven. He in his words, he's like, "Oh, I just listen to you guys. It's like my podcast." We're like, "Oh my gosh, Steven." Bless his soul. I love Steven.
That just means you guys had very important things to say, and Steven wanted to soak it all in.
Like, just like all of you listeners are listening to me and Fernando on
Conversations.
Sorry, you forgot my name. I forget the name of your podcast. That happens.
Hey, all right. I guess it's a third grade. Oh man. So anyway, getting back to the story you actually wanted to tell.
Oh yeah, back to my kind of prep story. It's kind of like an anthology of stories, but it's mainly just one that has like some background. So this is gonna seem really random and out of the blue, but Fernando, are you familiar with the fact that I love donuts?
No, I don't think you've told me this.
Yes, because I avoid them a little bit, just because I know I'll go crazy whenever I have them. Like, it's just so easy to just eat so many donuts.
Oh, it is. It is indeed.
And as a kid, I really loved donuts. And I can track why. I know exactly how this happened.
Why?
Well, the reason I love... One, donuts are delicious. But the reason I specifically love donuts is because when my mom was pregnant with me, and like, this is going to sound crazy, but it totally stacks up, and I'll explain. But she gained too much weight early on in the pregnancy, where she had to, like... every time she had to like slow down and lose and gaining weight, because you're only supposed to gain a certain amount of weight while you're pregnant, or else it can be like, it's like bad.
Yeah.
So she would really like be careful all week long before she would go to the doctor's appointment, so that she would be the weight she needed to be. And then right after, every time, she would go and get donuts. And she'd be like, I'm just gonna get one. And she'd eat one, and it was like so good. Then she would go get another one. And it may be like, okay, everyone loves donuts, Jason. Come on. It doesn't have to do with your mom eating that while pregnant. But I'll give you this. When my mom was pregnant with me, there are only a few things she ate a lot of.
Okay.
One was donuts for that reason. Not even like all the time, but just every time after a doctor's appointment, she would eat like 2. And it's just a story I know.
Hey, it's a victory meal.
Exactly. Victory meal. 2 donuts. She also ate a ton of Taco Bell. A lot.
Okay. I'm starting to see
And
it now.
Fernando knows that I have a very reasonable love for Taco Bell.
I wouldn't say reasonable, sir. The word you're looking for is irrational.
Totally rational. Totally normal. Love for Taco Bell. I worked at Taco Bell for like 4 months when I was a senior in high school. And you would think, oh, he worked there. He probably saw the insides and all this. You know, he got to be in the kitchen. He saw the stuff. And me being in the kitchen was like, let's make cool food. And I made it got so bad. I only worked there for 4 months. And it was my senior year of high school. But my parents, near the end of my senior year, was like, Jason, you're in such a good spot. You're going to go to college and you're not even going to have to worry about the freshman 15. Because you're going to have to lose the Taco Bell 21st.
Now, I can appreciate that joke.
Oh, it's a good joke, but it was a true joke. I went to prom that year with a girl, and it was just as friends. But later on, when she saw me after I came back from like freshman year of college, she was like, oh, Jason, you look so good. Last year, you were so fat. And I look at photos of me at prom wearing a suit, and I look like I don't know if you guys have seen, oh man, what's that movie? You know the one with oh my gosh, how am I blanking out? It's with David Spade and with the other guy who died, the fat guy. Who's a comedian.
Oh, I know that. Okay.
Basically, Tommy Boy, the movie Tommy Boy. There's this scene where he puts on David Spade's coat. David Spade's this like skinny guy. And I forgot the name of the meeting I'm talking about, but he's a much bigger guy, and he's just like, he puts it on. He's like, fat guy in a little coat. And he's just like going back and forth, and then he accidentally rips the coat when he like stretches too far. So that's what I look like. Not that bad, but I definitely was like, it was kind of like bursting a little bit at the front, and my cheeks had a little more fat to them, you know? I didn't have a beard at that time either, so it all adds up. But back to this. So I love Taco Bell. But back to the story. So there's Taco Bell. There's that. And my mom hasn't drinking it really since. She doesn't like it anymore. But she had cravings. Okay. Specifically for Dr. Pepper.
Okay. You surprisingly tie all this together very well.
Right? So I love this stuff. When my mom was pregnant with me, she ate all this stuff, and that's the stuff I eat, and a lot of spicy food, and I love spicy food. So it's like it all came to be of the formation of Jason was when I was being formed. But that is all just to say, the whole reason I even say any of that is just to say that I really love donuts.
Okay.
Like when I was a little kid, when we would go and occasionally, not often, occasionally get donuts. I first used to, as a little kid, you'd go get the sprinkle ones, and then all of a sudden there was a shift, and my mom was worried. She was like, Jason, the past 3 times you've gotten apple fritters. You don't even really like apple fritters. And I'm like, I know, but it's the biggest one. So I had to eat the most donut. But really, I mean, there's like other things too. Like when I was 15, my birthday cake was just like a pile of donuts on top of each other with a candle on the top, that kind of stuff. I love donuts. But when specifically this story, or try calling it the Donut King story, is I don't know, are you familiar with AYSO?
No, what's that?
Imagine little kids in a soccer league. Like 5 to like 13. Yes. In California.
Okay. Now that you mention yes. Okay.
So I'm in soccer. At this point, I'm young. Like I was young. I think I was 6. 6 and playing soccer. And I'm not like unathletic, but I'm not the most athletic person either. And I could like do what I needed to do, but I just happened to be on a really good soccer team when I was 6, where it was I think this was the year where one of the kids on my team was the coach's son, and the coach was a professional player from England. So, all right. Like he's retired at this point, but his son was like 6. And is like scoring goals, just dominating. Like we wipe every team, and I was on defense, so I didn't have to do anything because it was always on the other side of the field. So I'd get bored. I'd just like pick up the grass and look at the sun, do whatever. And the sun. I don't know, just that kind of stuff. I feel like I mainly would like pick at grass and would like break it apart and stuff. And kind of just I would be like standing, but like pick and do whatever.
Got it.
And so back to the donuts though. Mm-hmm. Whenever you played soccer, each team would bring like a snack for after, but a lot of times it was kind of desserty. Not always. A lot of times it was healthier stuff, but like kind of good. But one time, this one game, which we were like doing really well, so the ball was never going near me. I was just picking grass, just like dozing off, and I realized, not my team, the other team. Okay. Which, when it's for this, it was like, imagine like the field. On the left side of the field is one team. That's my team. On the right side is the other team. I'm on the right side. And I realized the other team has like 3 boxes of donuts. And they have like the plastic cover on top, not like the cardboard ones. Yeah. So you can like see in. You see that they're donuts, And it's not even just, boxes of donuts. It's like you see some of them. And I was like, you have to think. The ball's not going near me. I'm like dozing off. I just start zoning out on the donuts. Like, man, those look so good. I wish I could have a donut. Those kind of thoughts. And then the ball from like the opposite side of the field, like someone kicks it where it's like flying. Mm-hmm. And I realized with my obviously superior math-minded mind, definitely not at all, but just a kid I was so focused on these donuts, I realized it's going straight towards the donuts. And any logical person would be like, okay, a parent will stop it or something like that, whatever, it'll be fine. Who even cares? It's the other team's donuts. But not I! Me, who had been doing nothing all game, sprint to stop this ball. And it's not that I just sprint, because that could be like, oh, Jason randomly got some, some inspiration to go kick the ball or something. No. I sprint, and at the top of my lungs, I just yell out, "Not the donuts!" And both teams, like the parents on both sides of the field, died, like cracking up, laughing, just being hysterical. They probably wouldn't even care if it hit the donuts because they were laughing so hard at me. And I stopped the ball. I made it. That's how spirited I was. Like, I sprinted and kicked that ball away so it wouldn't hit it was totally gonna hit the donuts too. But that happened. I don't really remember who won the game or what happened with anything else. All I know is I was the hero that saved the donuts. And the other team didn't even give me one. Wait, what? After that, no one even came up and was like, "Here's a donut." They were just like, whatever. I had to eat stupid oranges or something. What
makes it funny is I can actually picture you doing this.
And imagine like little 6-year-old me. I was a skinny kid too. I didn't think I was, but I was. I just like sprinting at these donuts till I saved them.
Not the donuts. Oh man.
So that is the story of how I saved the donuts.
Oh man.
And yes. I still love donuts. I don't really get apple fritters anymore. I think they're great. I just know that the superior donut is the old-fashioned. So, with that, that's the end of my story.
Well, you heard it here. Jason's love for donuts. And even I learned something. Because I don't think I ever knew that about you. I honestly don't.
Indeed.
But now, I'm glad.
I don't go as crazy anymore. I mean, I'm older and I know they're bad for me. And usually it would be you get donuts after church, They don't really do that here. They
do at some parishes.
Some, but not mine. Not St. Anne's. But we have Father Sergio, so it's way better.
All right, guys. Well, this is why you should talk to your friends, because you get cool stories like this, and you get a good laugh sometimes too.
Every once in a while. Maybe if you have a friend like Fernando, I don't know.
All right. With that, we're off. See you next time.
Have a great rest of your night.